are you? It's been a while, a long time indeed.
It's been a very long time, bro. Probably close to, I would say, minimum a year. More likely
2 years.
3.
2 years at least.
Yeah.
What have you been up to?
Good, man. I quit my job in Jan. Since
Okay.
then, I'm doing a lot of the side shit, including this podcast. A
Mm.
lot of stuff related to design, but this is like the anti-design project, which is, it's going to be everything but work and design. It's going to be about sci-fi philosophy and the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Yeah. The things the things that are best left unheard in other places, except for in this space.
Yeah. The thing
Don't mind me. Don't mind me looking a little up, okay? Because my camera is down here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Continue. You were saying something.
This is exactly the kind of stuff we would have talked about on a Saturday night. Were we at a party?
We'd be at a fucking anxiety house party or somewhere else and talking about this shit.
Yeah.
What are those posters behind you?
Man, so this one is Steve Jobs.
Okay.
Steve Jobs as a Syrian immigrant. This is like a Banksy piece that he had done.
Yeah,
other stuff is just
Banksy
like
on top of that.
Yeah, that's another Banksy thing.
Yeah. Interesting. I'm guessing that psychedelic maze pattern thing is with a sticky note on it.
Yeah, that I did.
It reminds me of your art style when we did that. You did that chalk drawing, remember?
Yeah.
Loose lines that you form loose lines first, and then you're like, I can connect this here, I can connect this here, I can connect this here. Holy shit, I just made something. Yeah, you can see my room is very empty. It's like one of those very boring bachelor rooms because I just moved into this space. But definitely I would like to also convert this into a sort of, like I've always wanted to be a radio channel host. Because I think that most of my learnings happen through conversation. It might sound very braggy thing to say, like I don't really learn much from an article or from a YouTube video or a course. That doesn't connect with me. Yeah. But if I have someone sitting across me who I could ask like 50 different questions, like my questions are very stupid. It'll be like, can I use pink color over there? Why did you write 4 like as a 4? Why is it only 140 characters? Can I upload a video on my Instagram story? So I have very stupid questions, and you can't really ask this question to an article or a tweet or a course, right? So and obviously the human connection, because I honestly feel that when someone talks to you, their body language, the vibration that they carry around you, and obviously the pheromones, because that's something we don't account for too much. Because like I'll give you an example. In our college also, or even in our school time, right, we've had 2 kinds of teachers. One whom we knew we could bully, and one whom we knew they would bully us.
Yeah.
Right? Both are teachers. One we know we can bully as students, be like, ma'am, substitution, give us like a free period, give us like time, we'll play pen fight. She won't scold you. Ma'am, we didn't do homework. And then there'll be another one that, if you didn't do the homework, it's better you don't go to school that day. You'd rather call it, right? It's just power dynamics, and how are these women able to do these women or men able to do these power dynamics? It's like pheromones. It's like your body's chemical structure comes out as your sweat and your musk, whatever, but at the same time it gives your posture, your body language, all of those things are connected to your body's neurochemistry, right? So I think I connect to that a lot, right? I connect to someone's more than their vibe and frequency. I connect to their body chemistry. Like I know if this person is someone I can get into a fight with and they will kill me, or I know if I get into a fight with this person, I can definitely gouge their eye. Sounds very crass for me to say this, but you get that, right? So similarly, when you're in an like you and I are talking right now, that I know for a fact that there are times when I talk to certain people, I know that they're not hearing. They want to respond more than they want to hear. Right? But I know that whatever we're going to have for the next half an hour, 40 minutes, or however long it goes, it's going to be, I'm talking now, you're listening to me. You're going to be talking next, I'm going to listen to you.
Yeah.
Right? Our neurochemistry is going to balance each other out. We're not going to play power games with each other.
So, I feel the same about this channel, which is when I first tried to start this, I made this one video, which is just me talking to the camera.
Right.
And it was a video about, we live in a simulation and this is why. Right? and I'm laying it all down. I recorded like it was a 2-parter. I recorded 2 parts to it. And then a few days later, I go back to edit it. And I'm just like, this doesn't feel right. Like it is a monologue in some sense, but also I don't want to be the only one talking about we live in a simulation. Like it would be way more interesting if I can actually pitch that and see people's reactions or, bounce off each other. And that I think is way more interesting.
Yeah. It's like, I totally get what you're saying. It's like, you don't want to be the only one with a tinfoil. You want 10, 15 different people sitting with you with tinfoils and people like, hey, what are those guys up to?
Yeah.
So tell me some of the, since the time we have met, I'm sure there's been tremendous mindset change in both of us. What do you think, something that you have noticed in yourself? Because I remember the last time I met you, you had short hair, but it was tied up into a mini man bun. You were clean shaven, skinnier. I mean, you're skinnier now. You were a little fitter back then. So what has changed according to you?
I would say physically, probably nothing. I mean, physically, yes, there's a lot of changes. Like I started doing yoga and stuff in between. Like this was way before the quarantine though. Doing it for like a few months. But I would say that's just like one of the things. Beyond that, I feel like I've just started to think more about how do I connect with other people beyond just a transactional relationship or beyond just oh, hey, you know me for this very specific thing. And like, before I even talk to you, I'm going to pre-validate which startups you worked at. And then I'm going to say, okay, this is what I need. Like, I feel like in Bangalore, it's very easy to get like, just go down that slope and everybody just like, yeah, bro, how much did you raise? Like, it's like, I got so saturated. I got so frustrated with that I was just like, what do I do? Right? Nothing, like, there was no category to sort of put this kind of experience in. So one of the things I'm doing now is sort of setting up my own solo type of practice where I can do stuff that is interesting, that sort of does pay the bills. But I get to explore stuff like this.
So you could say it's gone from a, please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. You could say it's gone from a situation. I'll use an analogy because I think that's what I'm good at explaining. It's like, imagine there's a meteor storm happening, right? There's a fucking massive, like, dude, like you look up and it's just a shadow, right? That's the size of meteors falling. You have two kinds of people in that situation, right? One who sits there and accepts, right, cool, it's going to fall, I'm going to die, and it's going to be apocalyptic. And there's another kind of people who will be like, okay, I'm going to die in 15 minutes. I can probably make out of that chick. I can probably go eat a burger. I can probably get a blowjob. I can probably say goodbye to mom and dad. I think that's what's happened to you, right? You're saying initially it was like what's happening in life, you react to it. You become reactive and you cling on to the outcomes that life leads your way. Like when Unacademy wants to give you a raise, they give you a raise. When Unacademy is like, okay, Abhinav, you have the next 2 weekends off, go take it off. That's when you get an off. So you were reacting. When the meteor is falling, you're like, oh shit, I'm going to die. There's another one where you're like, meteor's falling, I have 15 minutes, I can still do whatever the fuck I want. Right? I think that's the situation you're in right now.
Yeah. Now I feel like I'm in a very long integration process where I feel like the first time you sort of get hooked onto these kind of things, where you start seeing your own reality for what it is, you really want to go out and tell everybody about it, where you're just like, bro, like, you're not going to fucking believe this, like this, that. And, a lot of it is after like trips, for example. But I'm not going to talk about that in this video because, a lot of that is after trips. And then I think now for me, it's about, okay, now I understand how the world is. How do I now integrate back into it such that I can make use of all of this new information that I know, these new things that I've sort of
downloaded.
Yeah.
I totally understand. It's like you've learned these samurai skills. Now, how do you go out and show the world or use these samurai skills on the planet, right?
What about you, dude? What has the last 2 years been like for you?
To be honest, like if you've noticed, I'm very open about my personal issues. I don't really hide behind them because I feel like my personal issues are who I am at the end of the day. The reason I'm going out and making money is because I want the assets to be able to deal with my personal issues at my own convenience and leisure. The only reason I choose to build certain skills is so I can deal with my personal issues by whatever, upskilling myself or getting better at my work. So one thing that I've realized is which I'm ashamed to admit, but at the same time I'm very relieved to admit, is that the foundations that I'd built myself on for the last 5 years have been really self-absorbed, narcissistic foundations. I've realized that for the last 7 years or 8 years, I've been telling myself I'm going to become a self-help guru or a mentor or whatever that is, right? But I realize it's the only reason I want to do that is because I want people to love me. Secondly, I want to help people. Obviously, I want to help people. I like to think of myself as a caring person who wants others to grow and benefit. That's why I did fucking anxiety in the first place, right? I'm someone who, like, I was just thinking all of this just since quarantine. That's all I've been thinking, like my values, who am I, what have I been telling myself? And I've realized that, and I just made a video about it today. I think I'll be releasing it tomorrow.
Nice.
What I've been telling myself a lot is that, and I think a lot of woke people tell themselves this, is that I'm here to cause a difference in this planet. I honestly don't believe that's possible. What I think happens is the planet is already doing certain things and we just become catalysts to increase the magnitude of that happening. Like, I'm not sure how you've noticed, but whether you've noticed this, but since 2012, I feel like there's been a shift in consciousness in people.
For sure.
Primarily because I knew that the age of Aquarius started, if you'd like to believe in that. Apart from that, I also believe that a new generation of buyers at the end of the day influence in a country's economy or a culture's economy. A new generation of buyers, which is you and I, we have started, when we came into the market, we decided for ourselves that, I'm not going to buy into big businesses, but rather I'm going to buy into businesses that care. Like you and I would rather go to a Urban Ladder to buy furniture as opposed to a Godrej, because Godrej is just making furniture. Urban Ladder is going to give me what I really care for. They're going to look into my needs and requests, right? Similarly, I think that we have shifted from businesses to brands, if there's any way, if that's a way for me to put it. And now, within this age of brands, or within this age of fuck brands and businesses, we are now listening to each other as opposed to listening to a big brother. That's the way for me to put it. Like I would listen to hey Abhinav, where do you recommend I get myself my next pair of shoes, as opposed to letting an advertisement tell me. That's the world we are in right now. And more so in the Bangalore economy, like, because you mentioned the startup culture loves to talk about what they're buying, not buying, selling, reading. They love to talk about it. It's a big influence. So I honestly believe that the message or the frequency or the vibration comes from the planet. The planet says, hey, for the next 150 years, we're going to heal ourselves. Then nature decides that, hey, we're going to heal ourselves either by, again, this is just hype. I'm just going on a Joe Rogan kind of rant, right? So nature decides that, hey, I'm going to assist this process either by speeding up a cataclysm, that could be the melting of the ice caps or whatever, or I will do something that takes away the life support of the species. Like, for example, I'll tell you, I honestly don't believe that humanity needs any other species except for maybe bees to survive. We can create everything from scratch. But does it have to be that way? No, it doesn't. All I'm trying to say is that we are a species that's unique in that way, wherein you put us in nature, we'll fucking thrive there. You put us in a society full of artificial machines, we'll kill it there, right? So that's when I started thinking, okay, this is all happening as a byproduct of something bigger. What is that something bigger? What is it? Like is it a hive mind? Is it a collective consciousness? Is it the planet synergy? Is it like, is it like you said, is it the simulation itself? Could it be just the simulation, right? So that's when I started answering. That's when it started coming back to me. Okay, I told myself 7 years ago, I'm going to write a book, Why Men Love Tits. I'm going to have fucking anxiety big, this, that. But why didn't I really do it? Then I started thinking, I would do a series of blogs and articles and find a lot of fun and value from it. But at the end of the day, I would trail off. Why is that? I found out two things. There may be more, but I have jotted down these two things. One is I didn't set a routine for myself. When I was when I do an acid trip and for the next 1 month after that acid trip, I'd create content every single day, maybe 2 pieces of content a day. But then it just, like it just starts going, right? So now I'm in a place where I haven't done psychedelics in maybe a good year and a half, maybe. I've stayed completely away from psychedelics. So I've realized that I am right now here, right? Answering myself, what the fuck is this foundation I've built for myself? Right? Why is it that I want to write a book? Why is it that I want to have an internet business? Why is it that I want to help people? And every time I ask myself this, the truth tells me it's because Anway, all your life, you haven't been, all your teenage life or your young adult life, you haven't been loved by anyone. So now you're looking for that love. I was a fucking fat kid with, like, dude, I was dating probably the hottest girl in school when I was in 12th grade, and I couldn't talk to her. Like, I'm climbing up the stairs and she's there with her friend and she's like, hey, and I just run off. And then she's like, what happened? I'm like, I didn't see you. That's where I come from, okay? I come from that space to a person who is now whatever it is I am right now, whatever it is you guys know me for, whatever it is I think of myself for. So then that's when, that everything started crumbling. Like I told all this self-help, Mark Manson, Ryan Holiday, James Clear, Robert Greene, all of that just went away. And now for the last 7 days, I've been asking myself over and over and over again, what the fuck am I supposed to be doing? Like I'm done with work, office work in the first 4 hours of my day. If not, then I just carry it on to night. But I have the rest of the day for myself to do whatever I want. Now, how do I spend this day? Either I smoke some. I mean, obviously that's something we all do. But then I don't want to be smoking some just because I have nothing better to do. You understand? Like I'm burning a herb which comes from that same collective consciousness that I was telling you. Like the planet was like, hey, this collective consciousness needs to heal. So let's make weed a more popular culture.
Yeah.
We made it a popular culture, but now it's become an abusive culture for me. I'm smoking too much of it. Similarly, like I love Formula One. I'm pretty sure that every single person who follows me knows that last year I drove for Ferrari. I mean, I drove for Ferrari in the online Indian Racing League. I came 13th, 17th, not 13th. I came 17th out of India's 22 fastest racers. I think I'm very proud of myself for that. But for the last 1 week, I've been binging shit ton of Formula One and MotoGP content. Binging. Not studying, not reading, not familiarizing myself with, but binging. Like if you ask me right now, what race was I watching 3 days ago? I don't remember. Who won? I don't remember. What were the stats? I don't remember. I was high. I needed to waste time. And I thought Formula One was, like my ego was telling me, hey bro, you want to be a Formula One pundit someday. You want to talk about it, right? Go watch Formula One race. You can waste your time with Formula One race. Oh, I'm like, dude, I don't remember what happened in that race. I'm not feeling fulfilled out of it. What did I do? And that's when it started coming. How much of my life have I been living like this? How much of my life have I been living like this? So that's where I am at right now. So coming back to the question you asked me in the beginning, that's where I am at right now. And it's scary. It's challenging. It shows me how much I have been running on a hamster wheel with my blinders on while the rest of the world it's moved ahead. Right, I'm on the hamster wheel running in the same spot and the world is like 9 years ahead of me. So I wish I'd spent more time. I wish I'd spent less time doing too many things and more time doing only one thing. But at the same time, I also feel like I'm one of those people who's not here on this planet to become a master of, like, I don't want to be like a philosopher or a helper or a healer or a doctor or any of that. I just want to be someone who's helped or who's bettered the lives, even if it's just you, Abhinav, even if just your life I've helped in any way, even if it's like something as simple as like I've taught you a new breakfast recipe every day for the next 20, 30 years of your life. That's it. That's all I've done. And that's benefited you because now you've told everyone in your design network and your startup network and your collective network that, hey, this is some new breakfast ideas for you. You don't even have to tell it's from Anway. But that one person who didn't eat breakfast for whatever reason, whether he didn't know how to make it, he probably didn't believe in it, is now making breakfast and eating it, and their bodies become healthier. That's all I want to do now. I've realized that's all I really want to do. I don't want to make a book. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be anything. I just want to write a book. But at the same time, it's like Alan Watts says, you have to understand the rules of the game, of the world that you're in, of the game that you're in, become the best at those rules, right? We all know, you and I know, we're in a fucking materialistic world where everyone's just looking for how many likes you have, how many books you've sold. In case if you're a startup guy, how much, like you mentioned, how much capital have you guys raised? How much was your last quarter?
Yeah.
I realize that we have to play this rat race. If I don't want to be a hippie, if I want to have a good house, a good society, be part of society, be part of corporate activity, which is something I like, I have to be a little fake. I have to be a little fake. So now I'm just coming to terms with how much do I have to be fake? How much do I need to put on a mask? How much do I hold back what I'm really feeling when someone tells me something at work? So I'm questioning a lot of my thoughts. So wherein you asked me what shifts that I've seen in my mindset, I would say that I've broken down my mindset now. And I'm trying to understand all that rubble that's come now. What the fuck was that rubble?
I think it's a very tricky time now as well, which is the whole world is somehow upside down, which is everything that all these structures that were reinforcing certain thoughts, certain actions in you don't exist anymore in some sense, right? Like everything is upside down. So now you're at home and you must have noticed this, like time is going way slower these days.
Oh, fuck yeah.
It's so slow, which is at one level, it's because without the routine to sort of prop it up, time just sort of is like this loose, open thing now. And beyond that, I think it's also that no 2 days are sort of feeling the same anymore. Either it's because of the external news cycle or it's just because your response to it. And so time has sort of slowed down. So this I feel is a very interesting time, these couple of weeks, which is, I'm thinking this is probably a good time to, like, let's say, start something new. Because I feel like a lot of times I've noticed this in myself. I try to stop myself from doing new things unless it matches the status quo of the things I have done already.
Can you just repeat that? You are afraid to learn new things unless it matches.
I'm afraid to do new things unless they form a consistent narrative with the things I've already done. Right?
Is the Tetris block fitting, basically?
Yeah, like in the whole fractal, I can't do something that doesn't fit in the fractal. Right? Versus now, it's a narrative break. It's like a kink in the axis where it's like, okay, wait, what the fuck? Why not? So that way, I think it is going to be a challenging time for a lot of people, but I think we're going to see the emergence of a lot of new stuff through this. I don't know why, but I just feel that way. There is some shift happening at the moment. I just don't know what it is.
Do you think this, whatever quarantine that we've put ourselves into, is going to really determine? It's like, do you think that this is really going to tell us how strong we are mentally right now as a species?
I think at an individual level, people are definitely going to be challenged, which is, it's really like, I feel like even the most basic of things, which is, for example, staying at home with your parents, with your kids, with, let's say, your extended family, whoever that is. We're not really used to that, right?
Yeah.
For kids, school is a daycare for kids more than the education part of it. Work is an excuse to be away from family because you just can't stand it for them. I'm not generalizing. I'm just saying a lot of these things are going to erupt, like these invisible currents that you are sort of just navigating around. So on an individual level, maybe it's that. But I think at a systemic level, we're seeing where the breaks are in some sense, which is at a very practical level, let's say with supply chains. But beyond that, I think people are just like, since everything is upside down, people are questioning things a lot more. Where they're like, does this actually have to be that way? Or why do we take it for granted when it's like this?
That's a very interesting point of view. So it's basically like you're saying that the torrents have changed, the tides have changed. It's the low tide has gone, and the high tide has gone, and now we can see the beach, and we're like,
Yeah, for sure. But then I think what's also interesting is it's so hard to not talk about coronavirus during this time. So let's move our conversation around it. Let's skip the coronavirus topic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not very well versed with the entire pandemic myself, so I'm not gonna speak anything about it because I don't want to I don't want to instigate any wrong source of information out there. But in fact, I think that, like, if you've noticed, most of these science fiction narratives in which humanity comes together as a collective, it's always been against a greater threat. Either that's been an invading alien species, invading threat of a solar flare, or an invading threat of something that's collective against a species, right?
Yeah.
I think this is something that the coronavirus is doing for us, wherein it's becoming that enemy that is causing a lot of us to come together. Because let's think of it from this point of view, right? I mean, while at the same time while you may be away from your everyday day-to-day contact, you now have more time to spend on the internet, where you get so much more such contacts with so much more people. And I'll tell you what I mean. Like, this is a great time for people in their 40s going through a shitty marriage to actually ask themselves if this is where I want to be at. I think this is a great time for college kids. I'm a college dropout. I think you know that. I still haven't finished my education, and I don't plan on. I mean, at least at my current college, I don't plan on. But it's a great time for just adding on to what you said. You said that our life is like these invisible threads. We are all puppets to an invisible puppet master, right? Who's playing our day to day. We all believe that I'm so unique, so inherently unique, but none of us are. Dude. We're all the same. We're all just different strings being pulled. So yeah, these strings are not being pulled as much anymore.
Yeah.
We have been given the leisure to truly be by ourselves for a while, and I think this is going to challenge a lot of people's thinking. Like, just imagine, dude, if 6 days into the quarantine, woke people, again I use this term very loosely, woke people like us are so fucking mind fucked already. Can you imagine at the end of 21 days how mind fucked we as a collective would be, like, challenging? Like, think of all the couples who are in a relationship that they don't want to be. How many of them are going to ask themselves this question, do I want to be in this relationship? Think of so many people who are in a job they don't want to be. They will ask themselves this question, do I really want to be in this job? Right? So mindset shift is so important, and I think it needs to happen. If you have parents who are mature, who have groomed you well, like 99.99% of Indian parents are shitty, dude. Any parents under the southern hemisphere of this planet are absolutely shitty. And parents above not southern hemisphere, I mean the equator. And parents above the equator are just absent. So you have white parents who are absent, and dark-skinned parents who beat the shit out of their children till the children fall in line, right? You have two kinds of parents. And I feel like you mentioned, right? And not kids go to school because it's daycare for them. And at the end of the day, they have a 12th standard, they have marks card that come out, and they parents show off to other parents. That's the system.
Yeah.
Because if a parent truly cared for what their fucking kid needed, the first thing they would do is not send them to school. That's what I believe. Obviously, you can now get yourself a 10th and 12th standard marks certificate without going to school by doing open schooling, which a lot of kids do. And that's an option for us. So you as a parent don't have to send your kid to school. But at the same time, if you don't send your kid to school, you're taking away from him that adversary, that challenges the 9 hours sitting and getting bullied and making friends and talking to people. And you're 13 years old, your hormones are coming, you're horny all the time, and your crush is sitting across from you. You don't want to take all these things away from them, but at the same time, you want to prepare them from all the shit they will go through. Like, I ask myself this question a lot, right? Like my teenage was shit. It was horrible. Like, it was fucked up. I'm pretty sure, I'm assuming yours was also to an extent really fucked up.
So I don't understand when people say childhood is the best time of your life. Fuck that, dude. I'm having a great time right now. I had to follow orders when I was a kid.
Exactly. I mean, I think why people say that childhood was the best time is because they didn't have roles and responsibilities back then. Like you could just not pay your house bills, and your mom and dad would do that, and I just have to watch 5 o'clock Pokemon at 5 o'clock after coming back from school and have my Milo in the morning, right? So yeah, I mean, our parents were shitty. I don't blame them. Their parents were shitty. I don't blame them. Their parents were shitty. I don't blame them. Their parents were ruled by the British. So that's where we come from, right? So now, like I would not, and I would like to speak for every single person who's actualized that their childhood has been shitty and they would not like to do that to their kids. I think that people who are now planning to have kids, right, I would really like them to take this moment to ask themselves if they should be having a child. Because I remember reading this somewhere, I think in Dubai's traffic manual, wherein they say that driving a car is not a given. It is not something you can take for granted, but it is something that needs to be earned. Rather, it's like it's trying to say that it's not something that you are entitled to. Yeah, it's not something you're entitled to. It's a privilege that you need to earn for yourself. Exactly. Similarly, I think people should, this is what society should tell, like being a parent is not a fucking, it is a privilege that you need to work yourself towards. And it's not something that you are entitled to. Because, dude, at the end of the day, people are shit. People, when they grow up, they're shit is because they spend an entire adult life trying to make up for the shit they were denied as kids. Yeah. That's all it is. Right? It's like, I was denied love, care, and affection by my parents as kids. So I spent my entire teenage life trying to be a rock musician who broke the rules so I could get my friends to like me. And now I'm spending the rest of my life trying to show the world, yeah, I'm a man. I'm fucking 35, 40 years old. I have a bank balance. I have a car. I have a wife, my hot wife. Look at my hot wife. I have kids. My kids are doing this. I have a house. So I feel like we shouldn't be looking at the symptoms, which is fucked up grown up people. We should be looking at where it's going wrong in the first place. That is fucked up grown up people now who were fucking treated like absolute garbage by their parents as kids. So that is something I would really like to. I mean,
yeah, it is pretty scary when people also. I think the scary part about this is also that a lot of people don't realize this. They don't realize that there are patterns that you follow, and then there are patterns that set the default for how you act in situations. And if you don't recognize this, then it's dangerous. Like, who's driving the car then, right?
Who's the one making the decisions, motherfucker? I want you to go on. I know you have something more to add to this.
And I think at some level, I think I was talking about something like this to Jayant from the group, and his perspective on the same thing, the way he describes it is, it's karma, right? Which is it's not this idea of whatever the traditional idea of karma is. It's more that there are certain patterns that are a part of your being as you are born, right? Like it's like, for example, your entire DNA has a history of every single ancestor of your past.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now you are acting in this thing. And then it's not just the thing that you're born with. And then your upbringing is also adding more layers on top. So I feel like I feel like in the US, for example, there's this whole thing of when you're 18, you get out of the house, you figure life out for your own. There is no definitive moment like that, I feel, as an Indian. But then
there's no initiation ceremony for kids to adults.
Yeah. But then at the same time, you need something that kickstarts your journey of finding meaning, which is, I think and actually there is no one initiation ceremony, but it is different for all of us. Like, we've all gone through it. Either it's engineering college and you're like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, how did I get here? Or it's like, you're deep in the dumps and you're like, this is something that I can't comprehend. Or it can be the opposite. Sometimes you set a goal for yourself, you reach it, and then you're like, I don't feel any different, right? It's also transient. It's just, It's a Snapchat photo. It's going to disappear. And now what? What's the bigger thing? So what do you think about meaning making? That's my question to you.
I think if you don't have your why in place, you're going to be in the position that I am in right now, which is mind fucked and borderline. I don't like to use the word depression loosely because I think everyone uses the word depression and happiness. These two words, I don't like these words at all because I think everyone uses them very loosely. Like that's why I like to use the word satisfaction. Like I'm not happy, but I'm satisfied because I got something done. And whenever like now meaning, you asked me a very important question to me, so I'll just go on a little bit. Right? Yeah. I think the happiest I've ever been in my life was after I met Olga in Goa. She was my older girlfriend in Goa, and she didn't speak a word of English. I didn't speak a word of Russian. How we used to talk to each other is she would write a message on Google Translate on my phone. She would write it in Russian and Google Translate to English. I'd be like, oh, this is what you're trying to tell me. And then I would write the message in English and send it to her in Russian, and she'd be like, oh, this is what you're trying to tell me, right? So even like the only she knew two English words. She knew come with me, and she knew anway, which was my name. Right? They didn't call me Anway. They all used to call me Andre. So I used to have to tell them, it's not Andre, it's Anway. And the only thing that I knew three things in Russian. One was her name, Olga. One was Pachimo Niet, which is why not. And one is Davai, which is either you come or you go. It depends on the context. Like if you're playing Counter-Strike and you're asking someone to follow you, like Davai, 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 Davai. And if you want your kid to go somewhere, like Davai, Davai. So it's the tonality, right? That's the only three things I knew. But dude, like when I kissed her on the beach, right? We were just walking on the beach together, holding hands, like till our heels, it was the water. There is no light anywhere except for the shacks on our right? We are holding hands. We're not saying a word to each other. I know she is delighted to be here with me, and I'm delighted to be here with her. She was 51, bro, and I was 19, 20, I think, 19, 20, somewhere along that line. We're holding hands and walking. I kissed her, bro. And I was so nervous. I'm like, what is she going to think of me? What is she going to say? Should I? But once I kissed her, I realized that our bodies, again, coming back to that whole pheromones, body, neurochemistry thing, our bodies, like when we were kissing, we had this like sort of vibration, it's like you can see like this vibration started happening in both of us. That's when I knew, dude, if I was born in Russia or she was born in India, we would have probably been together for a much longer time. That is probably the happiest I've been in my life. Like that moment when you realize that someone loves you, truly loves you, and even if you don't love them back, they will still love you, because that's how I am in my love, right? All the women that I've gone on dates with in my life, all the women that I've had sex with, even though I've not been their friend, the women who have journeyed into my life at some point of time, and I'm very caring about them, dude. Like I still tell them that, it didn't work out between us and didn't happen, but I still love you. That's what love is for me. Like you might not follow me on Instagram or read any of my Instagram messages, but if you ever reach out to me and you say, hey, Anway, I'm in India and I need help or I want to meet up, I'll be like, fuck yeah, let's meet up right now. Right? I'm not going to play ego games with you and say, oh no, I'm busy, my girlfriend. I'm not going to fucking play those ego games. Because for me, you know what love is, Abhinav? It's like, if I love something, even if that object or that thing is not right next to me, or if I'm not going to enjoy it and someone else is enjoying it, I will still love it. Right? Like Burning Man Festival. I've never been to a Burning Man Festival. But every time I see a Burning Man post or see someone talking about it, I'm like, holy fucking shit, dude. This is like smile on my face. Right? Even with me being there or ever being part of it, they don't know who I am. I've never been there. I'm not a Burning Man celebrity. But it makes me feel like they're talking about me. Right? Similarly, I've noticed that that happiness for me or mentality or satisfaction for me truly comes when I do things without being connected to an output. Like I am so ecstatic to be here right now having a conversation with you. Even though I know for a fact that we are not streaming this to a 10,000 audience or a 20,000 audience, or it's not like a Gary Vee podcast, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Right? I want to be here right now. So for me, again, happiness and satisfaction is, would I want to be there right now, even if the there does not want me to be there? Does that make sense? I'm not trying to be like creepy stalker, right? The girl's like, get out of my house. And I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean. But are you willing to be there for a cause? Are you like Nikola Tesla, dude? Humanity shunned him back then.
Yeah.
But he would still do every single thing for humanity. Isaac Newton, he was a fucking, he was a guy who lived in isolation most of his life, because people are like, who's this fucking creepy guy saying all these math equations? But he still gave his all to humanity, or at least he gave his all to people who he thought would benefit from it. Same with Elon Musk. Like, he's been tooked on like by every single person. Even the most woke people I've met in my life have tooked on him. I'm like, for what are you tooping on him for, dude? Oh, he built holes in this. I'm like, he's building a space. I'm like, dude, he's doing what he wants to have fun doing, dude. He spent the last 20 years of his life building the tech space so he could do all this shit now. So that's why I like, even if Elon Musk never calls me for a podcast or never calls me to hang out with him, anything he does, I'm like, whoa, win for us, win for us. So similarly with our Exploring Infinity group, like, I've never come for a meeting, I've never come for a meetup, never participated in a Zoom hangout, but I want this group to be content, satisfied, connected, and at some point of time join me at a fucking anxiety party or an Exploring Infinity party. Right? That is what I'm envisioning, and I don't want anything in return. I'm not going to ask you all to like fucking follow me, stay in touch with me, message me, contact me. Right? Those kind of demands I don't have. But at the same time, there are going to be certain people in your life who you have this kind of a give and take relationship with, like your friends, your close circle of friends. The number one thing that I expect from my friends is loyalty. I don't need you to kiss my ass. I need you to be loyal to our cause. Whether it's Abhinav and I being loyal to the cause that we need to get on a podcast at 9:30 and fucking be honest and true to ourselves on this podcast. Like, that's why I got myself this lamp, because I wanted to be honest to what I'm doing here. I want to give you the best, so that when you come out of it, you're like, there is some value. Even though I'm speaking more than you are at this point of time, I would like to tell you things that I truly feel, so that you don't feel like, oh, it just felt like a PR activity. It's not a fucking PR activity, dude. We are being like brutally on. Like, I'm bearing out my soul to you and talking to you right now, and I expect, even if you stop me or take my soul away, I would still, at the next opportunity, still bear my soul to you. Maybe a little less, but I would still bear my soul to you. Or even if I'm bearing the same, I probably have like 3 other people around me who are like, dude, you bear your soul, macha. Even if he fucks around, we will take care of you. So that is what friendship and like, friendship isn't just, dude, like texting, or isn't just going to the club, isn't just, like making fun of another person or reminiscing on memories. Friendship is when, dude, it's like Abhinav, when you realize that I am someone who's wasted 9 years of spent 9 years of my life doing something that I could have done better. You tell me, dude, it could have been done better. I may not have the tools to tell you how to do it better, but I know you could have done it better. You might not connect me to your mentors, or you might not give me a book, but you've told me that I could have been better. I might not like it at that point of time, because I'm like, who the fuck is this asswag to tell me I could have been better? But 1 year later, when I have become better, I'm going to think of you, and I'm going to think of the time that you told me to become better. And that's when our friendship will actually become friendship.
Yeah.
Right. And then once we become friends, we will have arguments about shit. Like, when I say arguments, I mean like pathological arguments, where I'll be like, fuck you, you're wrong, motherfucker. How can you say something like that? But when we have to get on a podcast or a call again, we won't be like, oh, I have an ego thing. No, I know for a fact that that motherfucker knows what I'm talking about. And I know for a fact that what he's talking about, he knows I know it. That's why I'm going to get on a conversation. That is what friendship is for me, dude. It isn't like kisses and teddy bears. I mean, that's one side of it. But for me, it is being brutally honest, being brutally upfront and straightforward in what you expect of the other person. that other person might not live up to that expectation, then that's your choice to say. Like, I know for a fact that 99% of the women that I flirt with will not flirt back with me, but I will still fucking go and flirt with them and make them feel good about themselves. Right? Similarly, I know for a fact that in the Exploring Infinity group that we have, most people don't want to participate in our group conversations. But those who do, I'm in it for them. Those who don't, I'm still in it for them. They know I exist, because that's when I'm like, guys, you don't have to raise your hands up, but I know you're sitting there at the back of the assembly listening to me. So again, coming down to what is happiness for me is having good healthy sex, is eating good food that doesn't make you feel bloated up at the end of it. So drink a lot of water. See, I'm done with the bottle. It's to limit your use of technology. It is to truly give back to society. And when I say truly give back to society, I don't mean just giving a donation. I mean truly give back to society. Even if it is something as simple as, Abhinav, you probably go and make these art pieces, or you make a new t-shirt, right? You get yourself maybe 50 white shirts, and just the pocket, you color it or you put a nice design on it, and you go and give it to everyone in the area. Be like, guys, it's just a gift from me. That is what is charity for me, dude. Like, even in office, right? There's something I've learned recently from my current CEO, who I think is a great man. He's a great man. Initially, I used to have these, and I'm in a managerial position at my office, so I have to like act like a manager, leader at times, and do things for the team. And I'm sure you understand exactly what I'm saying. As head of UI UX and an academy, you understand what I'm saying, right? So head of UI UX, right? Or was it head of design?
Same thing, design, yeah.
Okay, head of design. So head of design, you understand what you need to do to motivate your design team to get the work done. So initially for me, it used to be like, I have to spend maybe $3,000 to order chocolates for everyone in the office, make them feel like I care for them. But then my friend told, one of my bosses, he told it to me as a friend that, Macha, it's not about buying 20 dhoklas for 20 people. You buy one dhokla, cut it up into 20 pieces, and you go give it to 20 people. That's all it is. And honestly, the next day I bought 20 pieces of dhoklas and I cut it up into small pieces for everyone, because I didn't have the money. I was broke as fuck. But I did that. And every single person enjoyed it on the floor. Every single person. They didn't say, Anway, wow, Anway, thank you, Anway. In fact, I told the office, our tea coffee person, Kumar, hey, Kumar, go give it and say Changing Tree is giving it to the team, not me. Right? So he gave it, and everyone's like, who's this? Okay. And I have, and the office knows me for being like this. I don't talk much in office, in the sense that when work needs to be done, I'll speak. But when I don't get into jokes and laughs, and I don't bitch, and I don't like coronavirus, fun, smoke. People take smoke breaks. I have no problem with all of that, but I don't partake in it. So when this happened, I went up to the room, and I love dhokla, dude. So I went and I ate one dhokla, and everyone's like, Anway, it's you, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's me. Obviously, it made me feel good in the moment that people are appreciating my gesture. But more than that, what felt really good was I don't have to spend $1 million to make someone feel like $1 million. Right? So that's why coming back to that, giving a shirt to your neighbors, or me just going and like putting up a lemonade stall or a cheesecake stall outside my house once this coronavirus thing ends, and saying, hey, free gulab jamuns for everyone, maybe as simple as that on my street. Right? So that is the essence of what I want to carry onto this planet. Nothing else. Like, everything else is secondary. Like, writing a book is the second step. I want to help someone. Writing a book is one way to help someone. So I got very fixated on that writing a book thing, and got sad that in the last 7 years I've not fucking written a book. But I've been helping and trying to bring fun into the lives of so many people that kind of balances itself out. So mindset, that is where I am with my mindset, is that fuck happiness, fuck depression. Just aim for satisfaction. You can be depressed and be highly satisfied in your work. You can be happy and be highly dissatisfied in your work. And obviously the counter. So stop chasing happiness. Stop trying to prescribe yourself with depression and go smoke more pot. Instead, just do that one small thing that gives you satisfaction each day, dude. Even if it's like for you, Abhinav, if it's something as simple as creating a brand for yourself and creating a community around that brand, if that brings you satisfaction, even if you've had a shitty podcast, tell yourself, I've added one, albeit shitty person to my community, it's come. So That's where I am at right now, trying to move forward with this mindset.
I really like that answer, dude, because I'll tell you why also very specifically. When I do ask that to people, right, the same question, the kind of responses I get, they're usually very intellectual or very concept based. Like, for example, and I'll tell you why as well.
Yeah, sure.
I think it's something about when you start finding, like in your search for meaning, normally you don't start with yourself. You start with the world first, which is you look out in the world to see, okay, what is it that all of this is really about, right? So a lot of people that I ask, like, what is, find your source of meaning. Either it's work, which is great because then you're contributing something back, or it's like an external thing, like let's say a thing that they're really into. Let's say maybe really into yoga, or you're really into playing football every day with your homies, right? And what I really liked about your answer is that after you see that, right, coming back to what you talked about in the beginning as well, about how brands, it's more about the people now. It's about that authenticity online. That's because at some sense, we want to see the thing that we're thinking about reflected by the world. Like you want to see that this thing is actually a possibility when you see it out there. So that way, I think your answer really resonated with me because personally, I felt very similar throughout my childhood where I was sort of closed off because I was building these walls around myself where I didn't really want
childhood. Can you tell me what that age group is? Is it like pre-teens or post-teens?
It was around 10th boards.
Okay.
Right around that time. And there was a lot of like stuff happening at home and stuff. And that was one of the reasons I started putting up these walls. And as a result, the personality that I developed was very, like if I had to categorize it, was very low on heart, but high on, let's say, intellect. Where I was like, okay, I've closed off these parts of myself. I'm now in this isolation and now I can find what is the thing out there. Versus then eventually I did realize about how it's all about the people, which is, it's such a simple thing to say. It's all about the people, right? All these things around you, they're inert. Like this mug is inert, right? But what makes this mug is that the care that went behind it. It was the person who did this, right? It was the person who decided that with the limited time I have in my day, I'm going to use this for making this one thing that makes a difference in somebody else's life, right? And that I think it's so easy to lose sight of, which is why I really liked your answer, because that is what I would think of as well.
Yeah, what makes me happy is that it feels awesome to know that there are people out there who truly look at charity for charity and not charity as a PR activity. Again, I use the word charity very loosely. I don't mean it as charity, but community giving, if I may. Community giving. That's all I want to say at the end of the day. Community giving.
Because I think there's too many.
My racing helmet. It's just lying around here.
I think it's the idea that we're looking for brands for authenticity, right? Which is in this capitalist world where like, okay, we find connection, and it has reached this point where there are woke brands who are working for the points, right?
Yeah.
And it might not be obvious to everybody, but it's very easy to tell.
It is. I think, I work in advertising, right? Yeah. Marketing, advertising. That's my field. As much as I love marketing, advertising, I absolutely hate it. I despise it because I am one of those people propagating this whole consumeristic landscape that is out, right? So you said that that there are many brands trying to be woke, but you can easily call them out of their bullshit the moment you look at or interact with the brand. And that's one of the reasons why, like, dude, it's like when you work as an insider, you know exactly what's happening before anyone else does, right? I'm pretty sure that the moment you look at certain changes in UI UX anywhere, you're like, dude, you know why that exists? Do you know why the WhatsApp audio thing is here and not here? You know it before anyone else does. Similarly, like the moment you see TikTok launching ads, you know exactly why TikTok's launching ads. It's because they have realized that there are a bunch of dumb kids and bored adults on this platform who are waiting for the next opportunity to waste their time. Now I ask myself, do I want to be a brand that propagates people wasting their time? Or do I want to be a brand that actually wants, if you're spending 10 minutes on my 10 seconds on my content, is it giving you 10 years worth of value? Or is it just taking away your 10 seconds? That's something I hold very deep to myself. And you know, when you're told that just get it done, bro, it fucking hurts me. Whether it's, especially when the client who says, you know, just get it done. Because I'm like, bro or sir or Mr. Pradeep, whoever it is, I am selling a lie, which you are okay with me selling. In how much of a high regard do you really hold your customers at the end of the day?
Yeah.
That you're okay with marketing agency making up a lie for your brand or your business. How okay are you with that? That's one aspect. And the second one is, at my previous agency, I had a lot of hospitality clients, like hotels, 5-star hotels with their banquet halls and fancy charades of, you know, trying to imitate a grand Roman feast. So I used to feel so fucked up, right? When at the end of the event, because I used to go and, you know, help do live streaming and stuff like that, be at the event, find out if certain content pieces can be shot. I used to feel so fucked up at the end of the buffet. Everyone's gone home, guests have gone home, and there is enough food left to feed an army, maybe more. And the staff is not allowed to touch that food. They're not allowed to touch that food. They have to eat that dal chawal inside. And that food is gone for a waste, brother.
Yeah.
That food is not sent up as room service to people, because obviously they don't want to be a hotel that sends leftovers for room service. That food is not collected as part of a CSR initiative that can be given to maybe a slum in the neighborhood, or maybe just do something with that. You know, I used to feel so fucked up that I am someone who's spending an entire month trying to sell this event, which is full of just human greed and people dressing up nice so that they can make more money off the other person. And at the end of the day, because I truly believe that every human being on this planet should have access to nutrition. I'm not saying that every single person should eat dal chawal, but they should have access to nutrition in whatever way or form that may be. If it's a poor country, then they will have to afford their kind of nutrition. If it's a rich country, they can afford any kind of nutrition. But nutrition should be it's very important. So when I see that, it used to really fuck with me a lot. Like, dude, I cannot see this happening. Like, I used to go and ask the staff, like, dude, can you dog pack some food for me at least? So, you know, I've like taken care of that bit. Always give enough food. Like, would give like 2 pizzas, they would give like fucking stroganoff, chawal, pulao, that. I take it home, I call up my 2-3 of my stoner buddies. I'm like, bro, you bring the weed, I'll take care of the food. I built a little bit of a community there, right? Like a small community that's come together because I've got angry at someone else. But at the same time, brother, I'm so good at marketing something on social media that I'm making this happen in a way. You know, I'm contributing to this happen in a way. And that was but still is a big mind fuck for me, because I'm like, how can I be okay with people spending $6,000 for a buffet, which they can probably get the same nutritional value for $300 at an Andhra mess, a good Andhra mess. The only thing they're getting here is a bunch of photographs they can put on their Instagram, or that status symbol. That's all they're getting. That's the only difference. There's literally no other difference. Obviously, food, obviously. So that is something that I have been professionally, I've still not found an answer to. One way I found an answer to is that whatever content that I'm putting out on Instagram, I try to make sure that none of it is memes or this bullshit that, you know, you mindlessly just makes you. I don't like TikTok. I mean, I love certain content creators on TikTok because they are so fucking innovative. But most of them are just like, it's just bullshit that you get caught up trying to waste your time in. Again, it's not their fault. It's my fault as an individual for not having the self-discipline to limit how much I consume.
Yeah.
But it's not like they're not responsible for what they're putting out either, right? You are responsible for what you put out. Now, they may not have the maturity or the wokeness to make a decision that, hey, is this good for community? It's not good for me and my community, but it's definitely good for a lot of other kids out there, Bollywood aspirants, a lot of people who maybe get their only satisfaction from TikTok.
Yeah.
They need it. Some people need it. So I will not say that TikTok should not exist, but how much should I exist on TikTok or with TikTok? That's the question, right? Like I can't kill a woman who is a piece of shit, but I can choose not to be in a relationship with her, or I can choose not to be around that person or not be that person's employee, right? So I think that's something that drives a lot of people to isolation. I'm honestly sure that Isaac Newton drove himself to isolation because he's like, I'm tired of this bullshit. I cannot deal with this bullshit out there. Same with Nikola Tesla was probably like, what is this shit that's happening? Let me just, like you mentioned, right? 10th standard, you created these walls for yourself, wherein you had the space to think as much logically as you could without someone from the outside coming and fucking with your emotions, your feelings, your sense of me. That happens to every single intellectual on this planet, dude. I think that the stronger you become here, the more attuned you become to why people do things that fuck with you. Like 48 Laws of Power, that book tells you everything that you need to know about why people will fuck with you on this planet, right? That book was not written by someone who would fuck with you. I don't know Robert Greene personally, so I can't say that he would someone who would fuck with you or not fuck with you. But he's told you this is the environment, this is the world, this is exactly what's happening. Where do you fit into this, brother? Do you want to be outside? Do you want to be inside? Do you want to be running circles around it? Where do you fit in? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, I love advertising.
That is the thing that paralyzes a lot of people, because it's just like, it is a systemic level problem, right? And at some level, you as an individual cannot change the system directly. Indirectly, of course, you can. But then that indirectly means you have to do the dance of the system. You have to engage with the system, be like, I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing. I'm in the system, but I know what's really up.
I know what's happening here.
And I do believe changes do happen. Like, I feel like every single action that you do is planting a seed somewhere that does change. But the thing is, it's easy to lose sight of that, because it's not a direct cause and effect where you're like, okay, check mark, it's done.
Yeah. It's that's a very, very, very strong point that you've just mentioned. And I think that is why, it's the journey of change that you bring more than the change itself, right? It's the journey of change. It's like Mahatma Gandhi was responsible for uniting the country, not because he united the country, but because he did all these different things that led to the unification and thus the consequent liberation of our country. And I think that's exactly what you're trying to say also. Like, it's today I put out a piece of content, tomorrow I work on myself, day after tomorrow I go and do a seminar, and the day after that I just go to the community and I work there. The day after that I do a podcast and learn from someone who knows 20 times more than I do. And the day after that, learning from all of this, I make a new piece of content, and then the cycle continues, right? I totally understand that.
And I think it's just that most things in life, we think it's linear cause effect, but I think it's a multivariate system where you're like I would like to believe, for example, that every single thing we do, even if we don't get the reward for it right there, people are noticing. Like the people who need that content or that whatever you put out at that moment do get it. They don't attribute it, but that seed is planted in some sense, which is why I feel like that is the personal responsibility then of putting your entire self behind everything you do, which is be authentic rather than following that one pattern of what you think is the accepted way or the status quo of doing things. Yeah.
What's that plant behind you, by the way? Is that a...
So this is actually a fake plant. This is not real.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it's good, no? It feels good to have something like that around you.
Yeah. I did have...
Did you have...
The thing is with real plants, it's really hard to keep them indoors. So all my real plants are actually outside. Yeah.
Okay. Would you say that from the time that you got yourself these pieces of flora, it's helped make your space or make your mind space more conducive?
I think, see, I don't know for sure 100%, but the thing I feel about it is, at some level, I think when we think of, I don't know if this is a design thing or not, but in general, when we think of order, we think of it as these clean lines. This is how it's supposed to be, right? Versus when we see this, which apparent to the eye is not easy to see what kind of pattern it's forming. Like this is real organic patterns, right? Versus straight lines. So I feel like indoors, I sort of want to break up that space, that monotony of, this is how
straight lines. That is a very, 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 like I have never ever in my life ever heard anyone say that. And I thank you for that perspective. That's a brilliant way of looking at it. Yeah, it is.
Trees don't grow straight, right? They grow in a fractal, and fractals are the real patterns, real patterns versus the simulated ones.
Yeah, because if you think about it, I mean, again, I'm just creating a hypothetical situation or another hypothesis. If you've noticed that dynamic workspaces, right, where you will need to continuously switch between a modicum of tasks, is usually a space that does not have too many straight lines, like a WeWork, if I may. If you've noticed how WeWork has built itself, it's in your space, straight lines. The moment you come out of that space, it's like a disruption of plants and of facades in the ceiling and lighting and etc. But a call center will never do that. A call center will never dream of doing that because they need you to be that same, hello sir, I'm calling you from Bharati Telecoms. I have a plan for you. Would you be interested in investing the next 6 months of your life on our screen? It has to be that same thing. Only the best telecallers, like who eventually end up becoming, your sales gurus like Grant Cardone, etc. They truly break that flow. They obviously build off that script, but they break into their own flow. That's why you'll see maybe one in 10 million such people, wherein you have 10 million people who joined the BPO industry. One of them said, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm going to be probably a telemarketer or a salesperson, or maybe I'll join Bollywood for all you know, right? Someone who's realized I'm so good at this. And that is such a brilliant, I think you should write an article on this, dude. This can become not just an article, but rather something that you can study. Because a lot of interior designers probably know this as a practice, but not as a theory. So this could probably become a theory for them.
Yeah.
Wherein because see, if you've noticed, a table, which is a coffee table, is the only table that will be very abstract in shape. A boardroom table will never be abstract. It's going to be that same fucking boardroom. It's going to be long. It's going to have its uniform lines and nothing on the table. But a coffee table, they will fucking take wood, blast it with sand, put glass coating on it, and then rub paint on it, and then this is your new coffee table, sir. And when you're at that coffee table, you're getting anxious because your brain is seeing multiple design, multiple elements, and it's like, what the fuck is that? You're anxious to meet the person you're probably going to give an interview to or join their company. So how you can use the space to create, which is why if you notice most meditation rooms are only straight lines. Because they don't want you to get panicked and they don't want you to fucking go wild. They'll have trees, obviously, but that is where the natural patterns come into play, wherein they're not taking trees and randomly putting it here and there, but it's a natural space with maybe one. I'll send you the link of this one meditation room of a flotation tank in Bali. Okay, it's called. You can actually check it out right now. I can send it to you on chat here, right?
Yeah.
Just a second.
I think what's interesting, right? Let me just add on to that in the meantime.
Yeah, please.
You can clearly feel this energy when you walk into a WeWork.
Yes.
Right? WeWorks feel fucking great, right? And of course, when you walk into a call center, you don't feel that energy. And I think at some level, it's also harder for a call center, let's say, to justify because there's no direct impact on profits. I think with a call center, they can't justify building a WeWork because they're like, this doesn't directly add to profits. Right? Versus with the WeWork, if you've seen have you seen the lore around it? So the founders, so the founder and his wife, Rebecca. So Rebecca has this thing where she is a very spiritual person. So her idea was, I'm very vaguely quoting it, but the piece of Buddhism, right? The overall good vibes that she felt with certain things in her life. She's like, how do we take this on a global level? Right? How do we take enlightenment at scale with a physical space that makes you feel one? And I was like, bro, that is fucking epic. I can feel that when I'm in the space. But unfortunately, I don't think that lasts in a capitalistic market. Or there were other things that contributed to their downfall. Yeah.
Even, do you know the total environment homes?
Yeah, man, that's so good. So good.
Exactly. And did you know that the founder of Total Environment Homes is the same guy who runs windmills?
Okay.
So windmills, classy jazz pub, and right next to windmills, he has those villaments. They're known as the windmill of my eye or something like that.
It's the windmills of your mind, I think. Yeah.
Windmills of my mind, correct. That's the one. That's where all your Bansals and all have their money invested in. Nice, like weekend home where they can go and do their parties. And again, like you said, remember we were just talking about this like 30 minutes ago about having the why and being very clear on your why, like the purpose, the intent, what is the emotion that's driving me. And for this woman, it was creating that the piece of Buddhism or the piece of Zen that she takes from all these elements and bringing it to one space which can be recreated globally for people who want such a space globally. I think that is exactly what it is. It ties into every single thing that you said. Like, why is it that most business owners feel so unfulfilled even though they are fucking megalomaniacs running businesses that give them more zeros than the number of characters in my name, right? Then you have another person. Like, I'll tell you about this one time the first time that I went. Have you been to Gokarna before? I'm sure you must have. So when was the first time that you went to Gokarna?
So dude, I was in Manipal, so it was like very, very close to
neighborhood for you to that up. So when was it? Like 2000, I would guess 13, 2012 or 13.
Yes.
Right? So mine was 2014, 15. So maybe like 2 years after you did, like after college, post college. And you lived where did you put up? Where did you guys put up and explore in Gokarna the first time you went?
I think we were at this hostel.
Just at the beginning of Gokarna, right?
And then we hiked up. We hiked up and went to the Half Moon Beach and stuff like that through that mountain.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It was insane, right? So this was when college time. I'm guessing second year. Second year with all your second year batchmates, go out, experience the essence of what started psychedelic culture in India, a beach with some people in it. So I still remember the first time that I went to Gokarna. It was my moment of, the second time when I went to Gokarna was my moment of true awakening, psychedelic awakening. But the first time that I went was when you could say someone literally pried this open. Like someone came and like put two fingers here and like, see this motherfucker, see this. And I'll tell you what happened. It's, I think, it's a true pilgrimage. Like, you know, you hear of these stories when Buddha and Jesus talk about their first adventures. Like, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I just want to tell you, it was like,
for sure, I want to know this. Yeah.
It's probably you or probably someone out there who really, really might take away something from this. So for me, I see there are two kinds of traveling. One is the pilgrimage kind of traveling, wherein you are trying to be as minimal and as much as minimal with your association with materialism on your travels. That means the kind of foods that you eat, what do you use as a transportation to move between places, where are you put up? That's very important. Where are you put up? And obviously, what are the kind of experiences you're having day to day because of no money or because of money? And to be honest, I'll be very frank and I'll tell you, like, I've had the best hotel rooms once I started working, but I've had the best adventure before I started working, when I didn't have any money on me. So this story is of a time when I didn't work. I just dropped out of college. I was playing in a metal band at that point of time in Bangalore. I'm not sure if you know about this.
No, I don't.
But we were a pretty sick band, dude. Like we played one edition of Bangalore Open Air when these guys came down. Napalm Death and all, Belfagor and Napalm Death had come down. So our names on that same poster, and even with Metal Hammer, they released a CD with our name. Anyways, so fuck the band and shit. I still remember we were playing a gig with the band, and this was like towards the end, when I was falling off with the band a lot, and I wasn't regularly showing up. It worked both ways. I was being a lazy piece of shit, never showing up for practice. So I didn't know the song. I never contributed to a jam. Whereas I don't think that I really connected on a spiritual level with the band. Personal, physical level, obviously, we were all really close. We still are. But on a spiritual level, I didn't connect with them. Even though the vocalist of the band and me are still very connected, and he is right now running a series of hostels in the Himalayas side. They just got funded recently and shit, so he's on that path now. But what had happened initially was that for me, metal, the genre that we played and the culture that we were part of, for me, metal is when you truly decide to do things in your way. Like truly decide to do things in your way. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Like, I've been wanting to do a podcast since forever, but I haven't started because I wanted to put out like some high quality content that looks like a coffee with Karan talk show. But I realized that what people actually want to see is just a Zoom recording of two people talking about things they actually care about. So for me and my band, it was like, I had long curly hair at that point of time, like Kirk Hammett kind of hair. Fat, I had a sexy Dean guitar. I'll send you on WhatsApp. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'll put it in the video.
Yeah, you put it in the video. Yeah. So it was that was pre-metamorphosis, right? What I am, like, I spoke about this, right? Like that metamorphosis happened, which is when all that happened. So we were playing a gig, and at the end of the gig, we were like, we just got out of the space, and I see a bunch of beggar kids, right? Children of beggars. They're playing cards. They're playing cards with each other. And I somehow love hanging out with kids because I think that they are the most no-nonsense people to hang out with. They will tell you what's on their face. They will not hang out with you if they don't like you, and they will hang out with you forever if they like you. So I love kids. Very open, very honest. So I went and I started playing tash with these kids. My band's like, bro, don't hang out with them, bro. They're not the right people to hang out with, this, that. I'm like, dude, these guys started the metal culture. Like in the US, in Brazil, in Argentina, where the best metal bands come from, it's always been poor, impoverished people who went and wrote that music and said, we want to stand up for ourselves. And we are borrowing from their culture. Might not be these beggars exactly, but beggars from somewhere else. That is metal for me, dude. Like wherein I'm sitting on the side of the road, smoking a BD and playing tash with 4 kids. Can you imagine that? On Brigade Road at like 11, 12, 30 at night. And I'm drunk out of my mind, like cross-faded as fuck. Because we had a ritual, pre-gig ritual, wherein we'd roll a doobie this big. And my vocalist and drummer didn't smoke or drink. So me and my bass player, we would fucking worship the fuck out of that. 2-3 lucky fans who knew we were smoking, they would join us. And then we would go on stage, post-gig, we get smashed. So I'm smashed and high, and I'm like, fuck society, fuck everyone, fuck people. I can't be a part of this anymore. So I gave my bass player my electric guitar. I'm like, bro, take this. And I had like around $3,000 on me, okay? And someone at that gig, the day, so do you believe in synchronicity? Like the world will tell you, show you things, show you numbers.
For sure, bro. In fact, this is a separate conversation, but past few days I've been seeing a crazy number of synchronicities. But yeah, we'll get into that. So what happened is, I started seeing Gokarna everywhere. Like I started seeing Gokarna articles. I started seeing videos of Gokarna, Om Beach. I had a dream about the space. So you know what? I'm sitting there. It's like around 9:30, 10.
And even when we went drinking just after the gig, one guy was telling us about how he went to Gokarna and how he lived there, Paradise Beach, this, that. Somehow in that moment, I decided I'm going to take a bus to Majestic right now.
Yeah.
At that moment, I took a bus to Majestic, booked a bus from the SRS to Kumta. And from Kumta, I walked to Gokarna, right? So within 12 hours of me playing a gig, I'm in Gokarna. And once I'm in Gokarna, I only have like around 800, 900 bucks to come back. I have no other money, or I have like nothing on me, okay? So I had maybe somewhere around 1,500 bucks, I think, during the trip. But what I actually had on me was some good Bangalore weed. Like, brother, the weed in Bangalore back then was out of this world, right? So I had like these buds that were so green. It's like I do this and it's just crushed, right? And it's not got that sweet smell. It's got that tarty, like sour smell. Like, you know, it's pungent and it's going to dank up the space. But the moment you take a hit, you're like, ah. Right? So I had maybe 6 or 7 buds and a small bong on me. That's all I had. So I reached Gokarna. It's around 7:30 in the morning. And because I drank a lot the previous night, right? Just when you reach Gokarna, the bus is going through a lot of crazy roads. So I felt very pukish. That's why I woke up. I'm feeling pukish. I opened the window and I puke. So the purge, literally the purge started. My body started purging then itself, right? And I'm sure you believe in that. Before a psychedelic, you purge. Don't eat salts, don't eat sugars, stay away from caffeine, and keep at least for 3-4 days, keep yourself like clean, right? It will magnetize. So that started happening. I reached, I want to take a shit. I'm like, where do I take a shit now? Like, first time in Gokarna. So I'm walking. I'm talking to people. I'm talking to every single person. Can I please use your washroom? They're like, fuck off. Most of them are not even looking at me. First beach, which is your Paradise. No, which is the first beach? Kudle Beach, right? Just reached Kudle, went to a shack. There's a white guy sitting there rolling hash. Okay. And he looked like, imagine James Franco with long hair. Like long hair. Right? That's literally how he looked. And he had tattoos, like Russian tattoos, and Ruski, like proper Ruski fucker. Okay. So I started talking with him and he's like, bro, I'll buy you breakfast. You can use the washroom. I don't know how that conversation started. I'll buy you breakfast. And you know what, bro? I have a bong and some good Bangalore weed on me. You want to smoke some? He's like, I haven't smoked weed in months since I came to India, since he came to Gokarna, because you don't get good weed in Gokarna, you just get good hash. So I take my shit, I eat my breakfast, nice fucking pancakes and stuff like that. We start walking. This is just between Om Beach and Kudle Beach, right? So in the middle of the forest, we start smoking up. And that's when I started, like, in my life, never have I sat on the floor of a forest and got my ass dirty. Because whenever I've gone out to, say, Manali with my parents and all, they're like, hey, don't get yourself dirty, don't jump in the mud, don't do this, don't do that. This is the first time someone's telling me, get dirty, brother. Let's get dirty, right? How he sat, he went to a tree, he pulled off the bark of the tree and he set it on the ground, and that's what we sat on, right? He had coconut shells, which is what we crushed on, right? I'm experiencing all this for the first time and I'm like, it's the first time in my life I'm doing this, but it felt like I was born to do this, born to be this hippie, wild nature kind of guy. Then he tells me, brother, he asks me, what are you doing here? I tell him my story, whatever I've told you so far. And he's like, listen, go to Paradise Beach and stay there. I'm like, what is that? He's like, there's no shacks, nothing over there. It's just one beach. You can have one beach, stay there by yourself. I'm like, perfect. That's exactly what I want. So I'm traversing. And just as I'm crossing the Om Beach to Twilight Beach, which is the third last beach, one fucking hot Brazilian mama. She was Latin, but she had these green color underwear, like just this color green. And it said Jamaica. Okay, on her ass. Okay, she was wearing that and she had like boobs, bro. Like I haven't seen boobs like that, like open like that ever in my life, right? So imagine I'm 17, 18, 19-year-old guy getting like acquainted to all this. I'm walking behind her like, right? So we reach Paradise Beach. as soon as I enter, have you been to Paradise?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know there are two ways to enter Paradise, right? One is I go through the rocks or I climb up the hill. Right? So I went through the rocks like a badass. I'm like, oh, nothing's gonna happen. And I was only wearing chappals, bro, during this entire trip.
Yeah.
Right? So my chappals tore. It's 12:30 in the afternoon. The rock is like 110 degrees or something of those likes. I literally took out my t-shirt and I tied up my t-shirt around my feet.
Yeah.
That's how I crossed those boulders. So it's the beginning of me like before, like who would ever use their good t-shirt to clean the floor? No one. Right? That's a materialistic attachment we have to these branded things. But that's for the first time I'm taking off my t-shirt, tearing it and using it for like to make sure my legs don't feel hot.
Yeah.
I reach the beach. As I'm walking, there's like one family, not family, like a group of people, one individual girl, the Jamaican or the Brazilian lady. And on top of the cliff, which is where I always spend my time, I see two people there. And this is around the sunset, like not sunset, like it's like around 4:35. Till 6:30, I'm just standing there on the beach. So it's me, my cargos, my t-shirt, my metal t-shirt, my backpack, just looking at the sun for like the last 2 hours. That's all I did. I don't know why I didn't feel like moving from there. Right? I still very clearly remember this because the next moment, someone calls me, brother. I look. Hey, coconut. It's filled with rice and it's filled with dal or some mellow liquid. So it's one brown-skinned guy and one white-skinned guy, both with heavy dreadlocks. The white-skinned guy like, and the brown-skinned guy is like, come, you want to eat with us? I'll make you some. I'm like, yeah, sure. See, it's probably one of the most disgusting things I've eaten in my life. Okay, like in the sense, it felt like jackfruit, but I ate the whole thing, bro. I downed that whole thing, and I introduced. I'm like, hey, who are you? What's your name? This that. His name was Ofa, the brown-skinned guy. He was from Palestine. Right? And the guy next to him, he was Dominic, Germany. So Dominic's girlfriend, Truvina, I forgot her name, dude. It's been a long time. Trulina, she was in Gokarna for the Shivratri festival, which was a few days later. She was in the Gokarna city. And this guy, Dominic and Ofa were here. So I'm like, guys, I don't have anything, but I have a bong and I have some weed. The moment I said bong, right? Like if you and I walk into a kindergarten and say, I've got candy, right? That's exactly how Ofa was. He's like, bong. He came and he just pulls out my bong. He doesn't clean the bong, he cleans the bowl. Whips out, I don't know what's their fascination with coconut shells, but he whips out another coconut shell and he's crushing inside that. Okay. I'm like, bro, I have something else. I show him the weed. Yeah. That's when he started getting a little bit more comfortable with me. And he's showing me around his space. So it's basically like, I don't know if you can see my room. But you see the square area of my room, right? Yeah. Our camp was no bigger than that. 3 men, one carpet on the floor, the cliff, and then just the ocean. I'll send you all these photos, dude. I probably have them saved somewhere. Right? So we're sitting there, and I have in my bag, all I have are some books, comics, because that's a bag I got from. I went somewhere to meet some people, then went for my gig, and then I came to Gokarna. So I have nothing else on me. Ofa, he goes, he's got. So this was Ofa's setup. Okay, so just visualize a cliff. No, a cliff. The ending of the cliff, ocean. That entire plateau on the cliff is ours. Yeah. There's one protruding rock face, which is like a wall. You could say almost like one wall to protect us from the sun. He's propped a stick against it, propped like a makeshift pandal. So he's got like a tenting, and he's hanging his 2 bags from that stick. He goes to that bag with a white chillam. Okay? So a nice, clean white chillam. Definitely marble or something like that. Didn't look like a thing. And then he just goes somewhere and he whips out some hash. He's like, you smoke the hash, I'll smoke the weed. I'm like, cool, let's do that. I'm blazed out of my mind. This is a Friday night. Blazed out of my mind. And I go to, and we're like, okay, cool, let's wrap up. We made a fire, typical Gokarna scene, you make a fire. By this time, the sun is down, so I can't really see what's happening to anyone else. We make a fire, this, that. Dominic goes to sleep nicely in one corner. Ofa goes to sleep. It's like 13 degrees in the night. I have my shorts. Hugging my back.
Yeah.
Right? That was literally my situation, dude, that evening. Ofa. To me, Ofa is... He wasn't a human being, bro. He was an alien, some angel in disguise kind of a person, right? Because somehow in the night, I wake up and there's a blanket over me. I look to the side and I see Ofa is on the cliff. It's like around 3:34 in the morning. Imagine the body of Milind Soman. You know Milind Soman, right? Imagine Milind Soman with black hair. That's Ofa.
Yeah.
Right? And long dreadlocks. Same body. So Ofa Milind Soman is sitting on the edge of the cliff, like Lion King, Rafiki holding up Simba kind of a scene. And he's playing his cajon. And he's not singing, he's chanting. Like almost as if like that's literally what woke me up, okay? Because I was like, who sings like that? 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, I actually understood what he was doing. He was actually talking to the waves. So when the waves come and splash, whoosh, he's like, hey, yeah, come. Yeah. So he was telling me that story. And I'm like, Ofa, thank you so much for putting that blanket on me at night. Like, you know how much that means to me. Like, don't worry, brother. I'm here for you. And then he's telling me, it was a little uncomfortable, but Ofa was like jacked up. He was wearing like a kurta. He had a turban on. He had like these harem pants, thick harem pants, nice shoes. So he was like a decked up, like a hashish store owner kind of a look, right? So he's like, don't worry, I won't feel cold, but he had an iron rod on his leg. So Ofa's story was, he's from Palestine. Him and 3 of his brothers were out at a cafe one day having food. 10 minutes later, gunshots. His brothers are dead. Everyone around him is dead. And he has a choice. Do I go back home and stay in this war-torn country? Or do I escape? And he escapes. That is Ofa's story. He tells me this. And I'm like, he's literally like, dude, like gunshots go off. They're all hiding. He gets up and both his brothers are dead. People are dead. People are running here and there. And then he decided to come to India. And he truly started opening up to me and telling me a lot of things. He had a dog on the beach named Ula. Indian pup. Stray pup. Ula. Ula was the beast, dude. She'll wake up, run to that end of the beach, come back, this, that. So now it's like around 7, 8 in the morning. Sun comes up from there. I have not seen a more beautiful scene than when I saw that Latino lady doing some yoga on the beach, dude. Like, see, I didn't feel like a creep at all because, dude, she looked like as if, you know how we say we are a projection of the universe we are the universe trying to experience itself from our perspective.
Yeah. It
looked like the universe was expressing itself through her that morning. That's literally what it felt like, okay? Like, I could see these like spiral, I was not on acid, and I could see all these like spirals forming around her and specks, and I'm like, what is happening to me, right? I have not done a psychedelic till now in my life. Till now I've not touched psychedelics. So I'm like, what is happening? Where am I? What is happening? Now, inspired by her, I told you, right, there's another white girl next to her. She comes out topless, dude. And she's doing topless yoga on the beach. So me, a 19-year-old kid, the only pair of boobies he's seen was his girlfriend in school and fucking porn. He's seen 2 incredibly beautiful, white and presumably Latino women going at it, like not fucking each other, but going at it with their bodies on the beach. He here has a shaman, like a person who's the closest to a shaman ever, taking care of him, nurturing him more than his own mother has. And you have another guy called Dominic. Dominic never wore clothes. His dick was probably like, his dick was huge. It was massive. And he never wore clothes. Like, I still remember the next day morning, we're all eating lunch, eating food together. Ofa had made food. Dominic gets up. He just takes off his shawl and his dick is like till his knee. I was shocked, okay? I was shocked. So he goes into the ocean. I can't swim, and I'm very scared of the water. Very, very scared of the water. So that's probably one of the reasons why the universe sent me there to start experimenting with water, because I did some ridiculous shit in the water after Dominic took me there. So Dominic goes, and Dominic didn't speak a word of English. He only spoke German. So the only German I knew was Du hast, which was Rammstein. So I'm like, Rammstein, Du hast. He looks at me, oh, you know that shit. Like, oh, another Indian who says Du hast, fuck you. That's the look he gave me. Okay? So Dominic's gone. Like, I can see one speck in the ocean somewhere. Okay, like, can you imagine? He comes back. I'm like, bro, can you take me with you? He didn't understand. I went to the water. I'm like, come, I can't swim. So he teaches me this one exercise. Okay. So the waves in Gokarna at Paradise Beach is always like 7-8 feet. I'm sure you've noticed. It's always 7-8 plus feet. Even more so because from the beach, like if the ocean is here, and this is the beach, it goes down like this. Or like that. It goes down very deeply. Because the tsunami and all that happened, right? So Dominic taught me this one thing. How to deal with the wave that's coming at you. 2 ways he taught me. Okay, one is as the wave is coming at you. So if this is the wave and it's coming, say I'll just show the wave like coming like this, and this is you. As soon as the wave is here, you dive below it and let the wave go on top of you. So that way the wave does not touch you at all. And the other way of doing it is as the wave is coming, you turn backwards and you do a somersault as the wave is going.
Okay.
He taught me one of these 2 things. Now, obviously, the front facing the wave and going, I was too much of a pussy to do it. Because the moment I saw it, I'm like, I'm going to drown. I did the back thing, and Dominic was like holding my hand. Okay. I did probably like 50-60 somersaults in the water that day. And now I don't have a fear of the water, but I still have fear of drowning because I can't fucking swim for shit. But I don't have that fear of submerging and being underwater. I had that fear a lot. So can you imagine, like I'm coming from a lifestyle wherein, and after Gokarna, I had decided for sure I will drop out of college fully. Like I will not make it an excuse. I'll just drop out and started working and shit like that. So now I'm in Gokarna. I've seen women express themselves. So I didn't have the balls to go talk to those girls. I still regret it to this day. I really think I should have just gone and said, hey, hi, I've never, as an Indian kid, never experienced this. So they probably might not have sucked me off, but I would have probably made a Facebook friend for all you know, right? So, or maybe learn something from them. So I'm learning so much from Dominique, from Ofa. And I realized, and this is when the story actually starts of what happened in Gokarna. So I will not get into it too much in detail. I'll just give you a few bullet points of what happened, right? That evening, Ofa was very comfortable with me. He was telling me everything. He's fucking opening up to me. I'm opening up to him. I'm telling him how much I hate my life, how much I've tried to end never committed suicide, but like being at moments when I'm like, why does this life have to be all those things? So Ofa was telling me, brother, that's when he started telling me more about what he was feeling when that thing happened in his life. And he said, brother, I have only Ula in my life. And now Dominic and Trulina. I only have Ula in my life. What he did for a living is he used to sell hash for a living. So he goes to his bag then, a brick this big, which I thought was his pillow. Because it's like a pillow size, like a small pillow.
Yeah.
And it's wrapped in like a pillow cover kind of thing. Right? He unfolds the cloth and there is probably this thick, this big bar of hash there, bro. And he just breaks a small piece of it. Come, let's smoke this. So now here I am getting used to someone who is giving me everything that belongs to him, even when he has nothing. And I come from a city where everyone has everything, but they're not willing to give anything to anyone. Right? So this is when the true, I would say, I was forced to wake up. That night when I went to sleep, right? Like all my life, till that point of time, I used to tell myself my parents are assholes. But that's when I realized that I was no less. And my mom had me when she was 18. My dad had me when he was 26. They have an 8-year-old difference. My mom's not been to college. My mom just graduated 12th grade. She never had sex in her life. She got married and she had me. And then she had to deal with my shit. Like I have always, like even my mom till today, she always tells me that you've always been different. Like different in the sense you've always stood out in a good way or a bad way. Like I almost got expelled in 9th grade for drawing hentai in school. So I've always stood out, good or bad way. I've always done things stupid differently. I'm the only guy from my batch who I know who's not done engineering or science or MBA. So while I'm not trying to brag, but I've always had something that stood me apart. And now I'm in a space where every single person feels like they stood out in their communities, and now we are all the same. We are connected. Like how you and I are connected now, right? You are listening to me and I listen to you, and you know that we are talking about things. I don't tell this Gokana story to anyone. Like you're probably like the 7th or 8th, 9th probably person to know this Gokana story in so much detail, right? Like even though you and I don't hang out as much, or I wouldn't necessarily call you a friend, you're an acquaintance who I know closely. Right? We're not buddies, we're not homies, we don't hang out like so much, we don't know everything about each other, but see how comfortable you are listening to my story and I am telling you my story. That's exactly what it felt like. And the only reason I brought up this story is because after that, right, now, even today, right, like some water had spilled in my bathroom, and I used my t-shirt, the t-shirt that I was bloody wearing, to clean that water up without thinking whether it's my t-shirt, this, that. Even till today, like whenever I'm in a meeting in the office and all, I sit on the floor and I let everyone sit on, and they're like, hey, bro, take the chair. Sir, take the chair. No, macha, you sit on top. I don't have that thing. So what I'm trying to say to anyone who's listening to you as well is like, once you live a poor lifestyle, right? Once you live like a hobo, is when you truly give up on shame that you have. Whatever shame, whatever sense of shame you might have been told by your parents all your life, that be shameful of having dirty clothes, be shameful of looking poor, be shameful of not being polite or this, that. All of those foundations were being like shattered around me. So when I came back, it was extremely difficult for me to readjust into what I thought was society. So that's why for the next 3 years of my life, I traveled, I did broke backpacking, I did 10,000 kilometers around India, traveled in the most like ridiculous of ways. Like I still remember I'm traveling between Chennai and Howrah, and I don't have a train ticket because I'm fucking broke again as usual. So it's at the entrance of the train, me cuddling between two fishermen. Yeah. Because they had the blankets and I didn't, and it's fucking cold. So I'm cuddling between them. And in the middle of the night, the railway police guys come and kick us and wake us up with guns. Show us your ticket. Show us your ticket. Right? Like, if you take maybe a very highly self-centered or a person who has a high sense of self-image and you put them in that position, I'm sure they will fucking die. They will not be able to deal with it. But you take yourself from that position and you put yourself in a society where everyone else is playing the credit card game. It's what I like to call the credit card game. What credit card you have? I have the American Express credit card. What credit card you have? Oh, I have the MasterCard. What credit card? Everyone's playing that game. So which is why my conversation started with you, right? I hate the advertising industry as much as I love it. I don't know where I fit in. I don't know if I should fit in. I don't know if I should come in and change the industry. I don't know if I should lead a revolution. I don't know. Because when I look at shitty websites or shitty brands or brands that lie or agencies that tell lies to brands and make more money off them, it triggers the shit out of me. Right? It triggers me. So small things like that have really helped me understand how people are in this world and how easy it is for people to truly fall to their base instincts if they are given the openness. Like if you are, that's what I try to bring into my fucking anxiety parties, right? Do what you want, be who you want to be. I will give you the space. Do what you want. So that's the philosophy. Now I think that gives you a little bit more insight of why I try to do what I try to do. Is because if you feel like you want to take off your pants and be naked around me, you can feel free to be that. If I'm uncomfortable, I'll walk out or I'll tell you, bro, put on your pants. But you feel free to be what you want to be, do what you want to be. Tell me, bro, I want to take off my pants. It's very uncomfortable. Okay, go to your bedroom and take off your pants. I have no problem. Cool. So I think more human beings need to have conversation. Human beings need to have more conversations where they're willing to offend each other, because that will truly help us understand if those things, those identities or labels we held to ourselves thinking, oh my God, if someone takes it away from me, I'll get offended. We'll truly realize that we are much bigger than those identities could ever be. Like you are You are a star child, bro. You are like a fucking, you are a messenger. You are someone who's gonna, you are someone, like you, Abhinav, you are someone who's gonna innovate. You are someone who's gonna, you're someone who's going to nurture. You are someone who's going to curate. You're someone who's going to create. You're someone who's going to destroy. You're someone who's going to, you're not a UI UX. You're not a designer. You are a creator. You're a destroyer. You're a manifester. You're a nurturer. You're everything that can be to creationism of design. Whatever you want. You want to take the eraser and erase some lines, you can do that. You want to take some plants and add them to your house full of straight lines, you can do that. So that's why, I want to tell you also from today on, like, stop, like, of course, outside of your professional space, because in professional space, you have to be like, I'm a UI UX designer, 7 years, 10 years. Outside of that, if anyone ever asks you what you do for a living, just tell them I'm a creator and a destroyer. That's it. I create, I nurture, and I destroy. That's what I do for a living. What do you do for a living?
Yeah.
And don't explain yourself anymore. Like, just leave it at that. And when someone asks you, what do you mean by that? Be like, bro, if you want to start a business, I can help you create, nurture, or destroy it. If you want to get into a better habit, I can help you create, nurture, or destroy it. If your mom wants to start a business and she needs a visiting card, I can help her create, nurture, or destroy. If your dad wants to start a consulting business and he wants a fucking website, I can create, nurture, or destroy it. So that's what I see you as, dude. You're a creator who nurtures and has the ability to destroy if you want to destroy. So
nice, man. I love that story, dude. I think it's super rare to hear about an experience with that detail, but that's a great story, dude. And by the way, I want to tell you one synchronicity right off the bat. I have that same T-shirt.
This one?
Yeah, that's the Reebok one. I have the same T-shirt.
You want to take 5 seconds off and wear it, or will that be too much for our audiences?
I don't know where it is. But I have that T-shirt. I bought it when I was maybe 16 or something like that. And I still have it. Yeah.
Synchronicity. So yeah, what are your plans for dinner tonight?
I already have dinner, dude.
What did you eat?
I had some roti with cauliflower.
Are you like an early dinner kind of person?
Not early, but I like to wrap up my stuff because these days I am working at night. Because like I'm not going to leave the house, so like doesn't matter whether it's day or night. So my work sort of starts now. I probably sleep by maybe 5 and I'm awake by like 12 for lunch.
Oh, okay. So you're like a anti-circadian lifestyle. That's awesome.
And right now is like the perfect time for that because I'm not going to go out anyways. So there's no real difference between day and night. Like before I would still feel bad for giving up those many hours where I could have been like out somewhere working, but now it's just like,
How long do you think this lockdown is gonna be? Because I've been hearing a lot of news that says like fucking till March. I mean, so March, April, May, it might prolong itself. And what would you do if that happened?
I don't know, man. There's a good chance it might be longer. But the crazy thing is, like for example, I have been in lockdown for 3 weeks already. Right, so I started a little bit earlier because I was just working out a third wave in Starbucks. So I was like, might as well not do that and stay at home. So for me, it's going to be like a 6 week at the minimum, like 3 more weeks now. But then I feel like we don't know what's about to happen, right? In fact, like by the time this podcast is out, from today, it's going to be out in maybe 2 weeks. The world would have changed a lot.
Fuck yeah.
The world would have actually changed a lot. Like not just in terms of time is slower, but events are like faster. But I don't know. I think the only thing we can do is sort of just like individually be prepared, and then also within our community be prepared.
Yeah. And how much do you think? A difference would an individual with the ability to influence people's decisions and behaviors at this point of time? Or rather, let me rephrase it a little simpler. Yeah. Someone who has the ability to influence a lot of people's mindsets and decisions, how important do you think this someone is right now at a crisis like this?
It's a very interesting question because I was having this conversation with somebody else about how, I think it was like very typical concept about duality of the Sadgurus versus the doctors. They're just like, what the fuck? Like, this is where we need doctors. Sciences. This is what science is. Where is Sadhguru right now? He's not on the front lines, right? And then over time, what happens is that there's a place for both. You can't reduce one and say the other is important, right? Because at this point, people are looking for accurate pieces of information and stuff. But then a lot of people are just bummed out, dude. They're like, I can't keep up with this, right? There's just too much happening. And points like that, you need somebody who can not give you accurate facts and data, and they're like, take all of this data and fucking understand it because you need this. You want somebody who's like, it's okay. Like, you need somebody who can comfort you, say things might not be all right, like things might go bad, but here's what you can do from an individual perspective so that you don't fuck shit up for other people around you. At least you can carry some level of calm for someone else. Like, that's the best you can do right now.
Be a conduit for peace for other people.
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot. I think, it's like
very interesting because there's nothing other than coronavirus happening in the world right now, this is one topic in the world right now, which is crazy. It's like very rarely does that happen.
Yeah. I think the last time something like this happened was 9/11. Even 9/11 wasn't such a global thing. Tsunami was the last time such a global thing happened. Holy shit. Like, remember the thing that we started our podcast with, that humanity needs a unifying adversary to actually come together. And it had to be a virus from fucking a bat in China.
Yeah.
to get humanity to come together. Oh man. By the way, this is one last question I want to ask you. Because I think that a lot of this is something that I want to ask you from, like, I want your advice in shedding some light on what decisions I should take as a professional next, right? So let me ask you my question. If you didn't understand it, I can definitely rephrase it. The question is that I work on a lot of design and a lot of as creative director of my agency, or junior creative director of my agency, my job is to make sure that what goes out looks good, serves the purpose, and gets people to look at where they're supposed to be looking at. Right? Pretty much, you could say almost like a UI UX person for the creatives that we send out. Does it look the way it's supposed to look? Does it match the brief? Is it what it's supposed to be? Is it creative enough, quirky enough? Will it stand out? All of those things. But what I don't like is when I know I'm creating a bad piece of design, but this bad piece of design is bad piece in the sense that the design doesn't aesthetically work. It isn't modern. It isn't an evolutionary piece of content. It isn't something that is going, it's like just
the business
asking for a thing. Sorry?
It's just like the status quo, not pushing the thing.
Correct. You are spot on. So it is like that, okay? And what they say is, like, and I to an extent agree with what they say, is that a majority of our Indian audiences is not woke enough or culturally enhanced enough to understand too much minimalism in design and stuff like that. Like the minimalist, the agency called Minimalist, right?
Yeah.
So if you take a bunch of, say, 50 creative people and you put them in a room and show them a minimalist creative, maybe 3 or 4 or maybe 10 will understand it. The rest will be like, what the fuck is happening? So what do you suggest to me as an individual who has to take these decisions on a day-to-day basis? Should I sacrifice the design ethos because the reasoning is that the client or the customer will not understand this sense of design? Or is it that my sense of ethos is secondary to a functional or a purposeful piece of design, which might not be good looking? So what is your take on that? I think this will really help me understand.
Got it. What kind of size are we talking of the client? Like what size are these companies at?
Let's say 4,800 crores turnover as of 2015.
Okay. Got it. And any specific sectors or just like general?
Think of them as a logistics and and logistics, shipping, and e-commerce supplier.
Okay.
They're not an e-commerce company, but they help e-commerce companies get their logistics and supplies in place.
Got it.
So very B2B focused, highly B2B focused, mainly presence on Twitter and LinkedIn, or maybe at emails and PR releases. But it is a brand which can do a lot with design. Their explanation was, our customers and clients don't understand this design, hence we shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Your take on this?
So I think so to start off with, I would say there's no such thing as no design, right? Every single thing has some design to it. So I feel like a lot of Indian clients, when they think about it, they're like, design is a presence of something. It's a presence of these additional things that you add to it, which gives it some beauty or some meaning or some structure.
Okay.
Right? So they're like, it's an add-on. It's a coat of paint, right? Versus with that mentality, there's then the opposite of that is no design, right? But what I'm saying is there's never a case where there's no design. It's a case where it's been thought through or not thought through, right? It's how self-aware is the design and the people around it to know what the scene is. So firstly, that's the thing. And then secondly, it's a matter of the purely functional aspects of it. It's like, for example, let's say in marketing, you have ATL and BTL, right? Where BTL is, you have targeted campaigns, you're spending money on it. You're like, I'm going to optimize each dollar. You have BTL where I'm putting a billboard. I hope people see it. Like, I know roughly these many people see it, but I have no clue. I'm not even tracking conversions to the exact point, right? So there's a similar thing like that with the kind of stuff you're doing as well, which is sometimes it's like we need something that just fulfills role A in this form. And this is how we've done it in the past. We don't see a need to change it. And then there's other stuff where it's like, okay, we've actually done this in the past, but things are different now because of some reason. And that's, I feel, where the room comes in for creativity, where you're like, okay, let me tell you fuckers a story, right? You don't see the full picture. You think things should be this way because of the things you already know. But let me tell you what, I live in the real world now. I am, in whatever sense, closer to reality, which is why you're hiring me versus doing it yourself, right? And then you present the solution and you present what is behind it. So I think it's creating that category of the envelope can be pushed, the status quo can be changed, versus this is business as usual.
Holy fuck, dude! Like that was a mic drop. What you just mic drop is holy fuck, that is so incredible. Like I have again never thought of anything like that. Like even no design is design, right? Even a white sheet of paper is design, dude. At the end of the day. Oh fuck yeah! For Indian brands, design is the makeup that you put, but design is also bone structure and skin and how everything else looks, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the mentality. Yeah, you put the text in, you put the wireframe in, then you make the design. But no, you're supposed to think it through, then put the text and the wireframe in.
Yeah.
And that becomes your design. Holy shit, brother! You gotta take a bow right now because I think this snippet that you just said, I'm gonna take just this snippet and share it to every single ad person I know. Nice. Because I'm telling you, bro. Like remember we were discussing this a while back that you help one person out with their job and then they will help 10 other people with their jobs and you've brought the change. I'm telling you. There are so many client servicing executives right now in advertising who would love to hear this rationale because it adds to their thinking as well. Because dude, at the end of the day, a client pitch is nothing more than, here's how I see client pitches, right? I tell you a story of 10 lines, 9 lines don't connect with you, but that one line does, and I know how to keep tugging at that one line to get a sale from you. Right? That's when I start retargeting you. I've known you, I know you've clicked on that. Now I'll use that same copy and retarget the fuck out of you. Same with the pitch. I'm saying grandiose things about their company and how my marketing will fit in, but I know that one line stuck with them, so I'll bring that back again. Like we all had agreed upon that one thing. Like we all had. So I think this would be like if someone could just take an iPhone and take maybe a shitty phone and be like, how many buttons does this have? How many buttons does this have? Now modern phones have how many buttons? One button. Who did it first? iPhone did. Is that no buttons? Is that no design? No, bitch. Smart design.
Yeah. So, dude, Anway, this was a really good podcast. I want to wrap this up by saying, what do you have going on? Where can people find more stuff by you?
Just follow me on Instagram. Cool. I don't have any other place that I put out content or whatever it is that I create. Just on Instagram, it's anway pramanik. I think you can just put a link in the bio.
Yeah, cool. I'll do that. Are you planning to start a podcast soon? Because I think you're really good.
I should have started.
You're really good at telling stories, and I think that would be that fits really well into the podcast format.
I appreciate that, dude. Thanks a lot. I really do appreciate that. I should have started long ago. Now I'm not going to wait. Probably I'm going to record my first podcast tomorrow itself because I've got the Zoom app also now. So yeah, like you said, I think I'm going to start tomorrow itself. Like I'm just going to reach out to 2-3 of my friends, be like, dude,
look forward to that.
Zoom. Yes. And maybe I'll invite you for a podcast, and that's where you will speak 10 times more than I just did today. And I'll ask the question.
All right, man. Cool. See you.
Peace. See you, brother. Have a fucking awesome career where you create, nurture, and keep destroying at your leisure.
Yeah. See you.